We're going to dive right into question number one, and it has to do with President Trump and his foreign policy, and that is, do you agree with President Trump's decision to pull out of the Iran nuclear agreement? The results are overwhelming in his favor. Anything behind these numbers?
Well, what you'd like to see here is, the base is on the ZipApp tends to be more adult. Certainly more American-centric type of users use the ZipApp. So when you look at his base and you see these numbers, it's good to see that his base is supporting him in this way. And I think that, the real not shocking thing about this is that, that deal was not a great deal. So it's not hard to predict that most people didn't like that deal.
Yeah, but if you compare it to other polling, though, other polling, I think, is pretty much swung to the majority that it was the right move to get rid of the deal, but not so much overwhelmingly like your numbers are. And one of the things that we should point out is that your app was able to indicate early on during the 2016 presidential election that Donald Trump would end up winning the thing.
That is correct. We were the only app, we were the only polling source that accurately predicted that. It was written up in USA Today, and a lot of people covered that. And the thing is about the ZipApp, which if you're interested in doing it, it's a conversation that happens with Americans throughout America, and it's only located in the United States. So you can't use this outside of the United States. And if you ask each other questions. So we get a lot of sentiment because it's 100% anonymous. So we're getting more truthful answers here than you would in a lot of other polling sources. Plus, other polls can build an audience any way they want. This is arbitrary. Basically, anybody could download this app, whether you're a conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat. It's open to everyone, so the results tend to be a little bit more mainstream.
All right, let's go to question number two then. It has to do with Trump foreign policy, but specifically, should President Trump be considered for the Nobel Peace Prize for his foreign policy decisions? Interesting on this one, overwhelming support in question number one, but question number two, well, maybe not so much, but still strong support.
Still strong support, but that's really what's great about the ZipApp, is that you're going to get truthful answers. And probably a lot of people in his base, according to this, about 25%, you don't see a big variance between men and women, don't think he's quite ready for that yet. So, but as you said, 75%, that's not bad. 3 out of 4 people think, he's kind of ready for that Nobel Peace Prize.
All right, question number three also deals in foreign policy, this specifically regarding Israel. Do you agree with the decision to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem? Overwhelming support for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hard to argue that Israel is one of America's strongest allies, and certainly they deserve our respect and our support. And you could see this is evident in the polls. You see very, very small resistance to that.
Interesting, in these first three questions, the spread was no more than, I think, 2% between men and women in that side of the breakdown. So pretty uniform support among men and women.
Absolutely. It's the margin of error, it's well within the margin of error, so you can't say that there's any difference between the way men and women feel on this subject.
All right, let's go to Congress now. We have a few questions regarding Congress and some regarding President Trump. Question number four, should GOP congressional leadership focus on repealing unnecessary and burdensome legislation like Dodd-Frank? Yes, but behind the numbers, there's a split between men and women. What is it? More men are saying yes to this question?
Yeah, well, actually, yes, more men are saying yes, but I think, that is, again, within the margin, so you're not going to see a tremendous difference between the way men and women feel. I think overwhelmingly, the people that are using the ZipApp feel that, the restrictions should lighten up a little bit. It's very difficult. I don't know if you've tried to get a loan lately, but they make it very hard.
Oh, it's awful.
It's tough.
It's incredible what Dodd-Frank is. Layer upon layer upon form after form after form. It's amazing anyone even buys a home.
Absolutely, and certainly Trump supporters are very pro-economy. So to get the economy going, you have to allow people to borrow money, and there has to be special circumstances for each person.
All right, back to President Trump with the next question, and it's regarding whether he's keeping his campaign promises. Is President Trump keeping his campaign promises more than most presidents? Well, again, overwhelmingly in support of this president on that question.
Absolutely. One of the answers is yes, check, 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 check. You could probably go down through a lot of his campaign promises and see that he's already completed them or he's actively trying to complete them. So that's going to satisfy his base. And, you don't see a lot of presidents that have done that in the past.
No. And move on to the final two questions, which involve the November election. Question number 6. In a generic congressional ballot, for whom would you vote in November? A Democrat candidate or a Republican candidate? Overwhelming support obviously, for Republicans.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.